So our conversation today is with Chesley Lunday, and we're excited to have him with us as we talk about discipleship, and in particular about the 7 core practices of following Jesus. Chesley, I'm just gonna name it. You are one of the folks who have been asking for us to make some tools reproducible, some things that are more accessible. So give us a perspective of why you felt this series of lessons, these life shapes, these tools would be helpful for you in your context.
Yeah, so as a church planter, one of the things I'm very aware of is that if you would take 11 pastors in a room and ask them what discipleship is, you'd get 15 different answers. And then what's worse is even less of them would have a system, right? And so we all talk about being and growing disciples, but we don't know how to do that very well, which is horrible because that's actually our job. And we get so stuck in building the organization. I feel like as a leader, as somebody that is planting a church, that's job description number 1. I need to help people become a Jesus follower and grow in that context. So for me, as a church leader, I'm looking at stuff that we can do to make it easy for them. And then I take like the online tools, we're shooting a course. Like the generation coming up is used to online learning. Online learning is a $3 billion industry. And so we want to tap into that because people are already there, people are already learning, this is natural for them. So let's build some tools that are like that. So, I've been through your coaching and realized like, how do I get this in front of Gen Z and millennial leaders? And how do we do that in a way that they will listen and understand? And so that's the reason why I came to you and said, let's do this. Yeah, absolutely.
So with that in mind, what would you say to somebody who, I just want the content?
Yeah.
Or I want to give you both content and coaching. What would you say to somebody who says, I can do this all on my own, just give me the content? No, I also want to encourage you to do coaching. What would you say to them?
Yeah, here's the deal. Content is not king anymore, it's currency. It's the ability to be, to ask for permission. It's that invitation piece, right? And so for me, I'm already using language that we've had in this. So it's this ability to say, hey, we have something of value. So the content piece is important. But what I have found is that as you get more content, people want to go deeper. And in the business world, and I don't mean to be crass, but in the business world, they don't pay for content anymore. This is why we're declining as a church. When content is the major pillar of what we're doing, the culture's moved away from that. They pay for organization, application, and accessibility. And so organization, putting it in a course that is on demand, that you do in your own time. Application is, now we get into coaching. I'm going to help you learn how to do this. Accessibility. Jeff, I need you to come to my church and I need you to consult and coach our team, right? Face to face. So that's the thing that I see as leaders. You automatically know you're not getting the full experience when you get just the content. And if you get bite-sized pieces, we'll give all that to you for free. But what the real gold in it is the organization of it. Each shape builds on itself, right? And if you don't know that, you're going to be like, you might figure it out intuitively, but it's much better if you have it in an organized fashion. What's even better than that is the processing time that we had together. I mean, I went through the shapes with you, and we got to the circle, and I was like, I don't know, confounded by, it was a big experience where Chesley had to go away and process and come back, and it was a big deal, You don't get that if you're just in the on-demand, because you don't have the processing piece, right? And without your expertise there, could have went off the rails a little bit, And so coaching is important. So when I look at leaders that are like, I'll just watch the content. Yeah, okay, you're not going to get the full experience. And then, the beauty of the accessibility part is you coming in and going, we can help you learn how to do this for your whole church. So you don't have to ask the question anymore, how do I actually make disciples? We actually have a system and we can help you implement it. That's so important for where we're headed, because I don't believe there's going to be a church around in the next 15 to 20 years that isn't learning how to equip and engage their people for mission in their own context.
Equipping people for mission in their own context, the development of leaders, not only accessibility, but also the ability to help to translate it, I guess, into terms that work for you and help to create a space for change, for transformation. What would you say has been the number one thing that you have sensed has changed in you as a part of going through the journey of the core practices of following Jesus, these life shapes in the coaching? What's changed in Chesley?
A big, man, language is probably the largest piece. You had all these pieces together and you're trying to explain them, but you didn't have handlebars to give to people very easily, because it's kind of like this, it's kind of like this. With this course, you have a language and a vocabulary that everybody can begin to agree on. Back to my first point, where if you had 11 pastors in the room, you'd have 15 definitions. In this space, with what you've done with teaching us these pieces, now we have one. Everybody has one definition. Everybody says one thing, and they all know what you're talking about. Now, from an outsider, we have to teach the language, which you have the system for that, And so I think that language piece, on a personal note, like working through the circle, which you go through, how to hear God and put it into practice, right? From a personal level, that was huge for me, because I had been working through this thing, that I was dealing with for 3 years. And I didn't get some resolution until you took me through the process. And that was so helpful, because that's allowed me to run faster because I had the language piece with it.
We're so excited to have the opportunity to work with you, Chesley, to work with other churches, to work with other leaders, with individuals who are longing to be a disciple who looks like Jesus and does what Jesus does, and provides a space for that to happen in other contexts. Chesley, thanks so much for being a part of this time of discussion and for helping to inspire us to take some next steps to make these kinds of resources available for others.
Yeah, not a problem. I love to help.